to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career.
Crawford took the weight, the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that,
let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him.
Roy Jones Jr. believes Canelo Alvarez cannot withstand Terence Crawford, pointing to the loss of energy and sharpness Canelo once had. He expressed disappointment with Canelo's current form, questioning why he looks diminished at this stage of his career. In contrast, Jones praised Crawford's focus, determination, and elite skill set. He stressed that weight will not be the deciding factor, since Crawford's timing, technique, and ring IQ can neutralize any size advantage. According to Jones, facing someone as skilled and relentless as Crawford will expose Canelo's current limitations, making this fight far more dangerous than most expect.
All be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch. And what I'm seeing is I see a hungry Crawford, a Crawford that has been looking for the opportunity for a long time, finally getting the opportunity, and really ready to grab the opportunity. And with Canelo, I see a guy who not necessarily hungry, but loves to entertain, loves to give us the big fights. Always tries to give the big fights. He finds a way to give us big fights. Not gonna always win them, but he always tries to give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career. I don't know. It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
Jones warns that if Canelo enters the ring overconfident, assuming victory over Crawford is guaranteed, he risks a brutal wake-up call. He emphasized that underestimating Crawford's skill, intelligence, and strategy could leave Canelo vulnerable to a punishing defeat.
It's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo comes to the dance.
Olympic boxer Omari Jones has openly stated his belief that Terence Crawford will defeat Canelo Alvarez. He explained that Crawford's approach to gaining weight for this fight has been unique compared to most fighters who move up divisions. Rather than adding size recklessly, Crawford has taken a calculated path with precise diet, conditioning, and training. By doing so, he has preserved his speed and agility while building the strength needed for a higher weight class. Omari believes this careful preparation makes the fight a win-win scenario for Crawford.
And me personally meeting Crawford several times, it's like the man is just so competitive. It's like I don't even have to say nothing to him. He'll just like, man, when we sparring, it's like his competitiveness is always gonna put him over the edge, and then he just has that like, I'm not gonna let you bully me, or his skill set. I know they talk about Charlo when Charlo moved up, but I feel like it may be a little bit different for Canelo this time around because Crawford took the weight, the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that, it's a win-win.
So you don't think Crawford, gaining that weight, because I saw him, he's pretty big. You don't think that's going to be a disadvantage for him in this fight?
No, it looked like he put it on the right way.
Even though facing a bigger opponent is a real challenge, Omari points out that Crawford's discipline and commitment will allow him to adapt. He's not just adding bulk, he's building a body that carries weight efficiently without losing the tools that make him dangerous. For Omari, this fight is proof of Crawford's discipline, showcasing an athlete willing to push new limits and prove himself against one of boxing's toughest champions.
Weight, you know, the nutrition, like I said, the training. You know, Crawford, he trains hard, so I feel like, I know they say he probably went up to like 185, so he has to lose that weight, but I think if he did it the right way, which I know he did, he'll be successful in September.
And I know, like we discussed earlier, you know, we talked with your pro debut, and now you're 3-0. Your last fight, July 19th against Blanco, and it was actually your third win by knockout.
Yes.
Super proud of you. How are you feeling about your pro career so far?
I'm feeling great about my pro career. I definitely feel like it's off to a great start. My pro debut in my hometown, and then I was my second fight, Atlantic City, on the Boots card, and then my third fight on the Ben Rodriguez undercard. So Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, they're putting me on these cards, shining light on me, giving me the TV time.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has highlighted Crawford's transformation, particularly his size heading into this bout. He noted that Crawford appears significantly bigger, but sees it as an advantage, not a weakness. Malignaggi explained that unlike many fighters who slow down after moving up in weight, Crawford has maintained his quickness, footwork, and timing.
Listen, let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's gonna be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. You know, Roy Jones Jr. You know, put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him. Good old Manny Pacquiao did the same thing, you know. So you know, there's times where it affects, and there's times where, you know, I guess if you put it on the right way. Only Crawford knows it because the way he's training, right? Because you're gonna be sparring with this added weight, you're gonna be doing the boxing training with this added weight, so you're gonna know how to, you know, maybe taper it down if you need to, or keep it going if you need to. You know, I think over the course of camp, if you start to feel too yoked up, and you know you get big, and then you know you're sacrificing reflexes, you're sacrificing athleticism, I think you're gonna feel.
According to Malignaggi, Crawford has struck the perfect balance, gaining the strength and durability needed for a bigger opponent like Canelo, while keeping the agility that defines his style. He credited Crawford's professionalism and meticulous training, saying the added muscle seems to complement his existing skills. In his view, Crawford may even benefit from the extra power when facing Canelo's relentless pressure.
Heavyweight kind of weight. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, Roy Jones is Roy Jones, but also Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. But John Ruiz is not Canelo Alvarez, so that's another aspect of that comparison. And yes, you know, exactly what the champ said, exactly what Abel Sanchez said. You know, you're going to put on weight, you're going to be a different fighter. And I can say this even as a fighter as myself, but as I've gotten heavier in my retirement, I try and move around the gym, it just feels different. And even when you start camp, you feel different in the beginning than you do at the end. But listen, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away. I don't know exactly what Terence is weighing right now. And even if he does say what he weighs, man, he's gone out there and said he's weighed, you know, all types of crazy numbers just to get media to respond. So it's really not really going to know until the fight and we see these guys next to each other. He might look bigger right now, but he might not be.
Renowned boxing analyst Max Kellerman delivered a sharp technical breakdown of this matchup. He emphasized that Crawford's jab has become one of the sport's most precise weapons, fast, well-timed, and capable of controlling the rhythm of a fight. While Canelo once possessed a similarly sharp jab, Kellerman observed that it has faded in recent years. This gives Crawford a clear advantage in controlling range and scoring points. Beyond the jab, Kellerman praised Crawford's tactical brilliance, describing him as a fighter who adjusts in real time and exploits openings others miss.
At attribute. First attribute, best jab.
Crawford.
Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring.
Kellerman contrasted this with Canelo's reliance on size, strength, and power, which often allows him to overwhelm smaller opponents. In his view, if Crawford can stop Canelo's forward momentum and force a thinking match, the tactical battle will tilt heavily in Crawford's favor. For Kellerman, Crawford's precision and fight IQ are his biggest weapons heading into this clash.
Early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size. Size and, as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. A great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton.
Popular commentator Showbiz the Adult has offered a balanced perspective. He acknowledged Canelo's physical strength and intense training camps, which have helped him dominate at the elite level. Canelo's ability to absorb punishment, apply pressure, and counterpunch makes him a threat to anyone. At the same time, Showbiz praised Crawford's unique background, pointing out that his early wrestling experience sharpened his ability to read opponents, adapt under pressure, and counter their tactics with precision.
Canelo uses his legs, he uses his core, and then his neck itself to lift up Bivol like Bivol was a featherweight. That is a huge representation of how strong Canelo is. When you look at his workouts, you can tell why he was able to do that. All these damn neck exercises that I wouldn't dare do. Okay, that stuff looks painful. The squatting and all that stuff that he's doing is exactly why Canelo Alvarez, honestly, is a strong fighter. He tried to do it again with William Skull. William Skull shook out of it, but he is a bull. Listen, Terence.
Across the boxing world, one theme is consistent: Crawford's strategy will decide this fight. Analysts stress that this isn't just another matchup, it's a defining moment in Crawford's career. Beating Canelo would silence any doubt and elevate him among the all-time greats. To do that, Crawford must use precision, patience, and adaptability, avoiding reckless exchanges where Canelo's power could turn the tide. The consensus is that Crawford should focus on distance control, angles, and gradually wearing Canelo down. They agree this fight will come down to mental sharpness just as much as physical ability. The one who stays composed and executes over 12 rounds will win.
Understands that he has to be smart. And I think with this one specifically, it ain't just about being smart. He knows he has to look like he's never looked before, because again, if he doesn't and he beats Canelo, everybody's just gonna say, well, that's Crawford. You know, so I think he knows that this is the performance of a lifetime and everything has to look right. He knows in order for it to look right, he can't just go out there and let the dog go. The dog is, you know, you gotta work his way up to the dog. Hey, show the clip real quick. I don't know if you showed it already, but this is the dog you talking about right here, right? And so this is, I pulled this clip right here. I seen it on social media this morning.
Don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
And I pulled this clip, right? But this is Terence.
That's who he is.
He's not gonna swing on Canelo. He already know that part of the game. But what I asked you, were you ever trying to send a message to your opponents? He's letting you know, and it's no act. And that's what I really wanted to show, is that's not an act.
No.
That's not, there's 30 security guards.
It feels a little contrived.
You think so?
I think a lot of people feel it's a little like.
Well, I'm glad you used a big word that most of us don't know.
Hey, I don't fight as good as you guys. I had to learn some big words, right, to make up for that.
Don't look it up. Just ignore what he said.
You need big words to get out of fights. You know, you need big words to get out of fights. But you know, okay. So case in point, our guy Hafey, sitting right there, producer extraordinaire. He had a picture of Terence Crawford in New York for the Crawford-Spence press conference. And there was this look, when Terence, he gave this look to Spence that reminded me of like Dwight Muhammad Qawi.
Super middleweight contender Edgar Berlanga also shared his take. He urged Crawford to stick to the style that brought him success instead of changing too much to compensate for size. While moving up 2 divisions is a huge challenge, Berlanga believes it also balances the fight in some ways. He stressed that Crawford's IQ, skills, and adaptability will matter more than trying to match Canelo physically. According to him, Crawford must focus on discipline, clean execution, and composure under pressure. Berlanga believes that simply taking on such a dangerous fight already proves Crawford has the mindset of a champion, and this willingness to face the toughest tests is what separates the greats from the rest.
First of all, he got to go in there and he just got to fight him. You know what I'm saying? He got to go in there. I think Crawford just got to go in there and do what he got to do. You know what I'm saying? He got to just be Crawford, you know, show his IQ, show him why he's a 2-time undisputed, you know, world champion, and go in there with confidence. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. You know, there's a big weight difference, a big weight jump. You know, that could be a difference in the fight. You know, because obviously, you know, it's like me jumping up to heavyweight. Obviously, I'm a feel the power. I'm a feel that size difference, you know, compared to my other fights. So I just think that he got to go in there and just be himself. And I said, if he loses, you know, we'll just all know that, hey, you know, he just jumped up 2 weight classes to be great. You know what I'm saying? It's not, he can't really, he's testing himself. He's testing himself against a great fighter. So, and I don't doubt him, you know, I don't got no doubt in my mind. You know, he's a 2-time undisputed world champion for a reason. So, you know, and I don't think nothing's gonna phase him in that fight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the power, maybe the size. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Canelo, he's not knocking Canelo out. So, he just got to go in there just IQ.
Would you lean towards Canelo still in that fight?
I got faith in him. I think Crawford could do it. You know what I'm saying? I think he could do it. Just like I said, just the size. The only shit that throws the fight off is the size and, you know, obviously the power and Canelo's IQ too, because Canelo got IQ. You know what I'm saying? And Canelo fought a much bigger guys, you know, so I know the Crawford's power ain't gonna phase him. I know Crawford's size ain't gonna phase him either, you know what I'm saying? So, but for me, I think it's a 50-50 fight.
Legendary trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas kept his assessment direct. He believes Terence Crawford is special, with a rare mix of technical mastery, physical tools, and mental toughness that allows him to deliver when it matters most. Atlas stressed that greatness isn't just about talent, but about performing on the biggest stage, and Crawford has done that time and again. In his eyes, this fight against Canelo is yet another chance for Crawford to prove his greatness in front of the world.
He's a little overrated. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good, really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? You know, but...
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next time.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more exciting videos, make sure to hit the bell icon and stay updated. Subscribe to Boxing Hub now for all the latest.